that deal broke last night. And again, for a guy like Blake Snell, I don't think he signed until March 19th last year. And he ended up taking really a deal that seemed, even at the time, less than what he could have made. But it is what the market would bear last year. But he signed with the Giants last year, 2 years with an opt-out this year, which he obviously exercised, for $62 million. That's $31 a year. Now he gets 5 years at $37 a year, Jeff.
Yeah, he was one of the Boris four, one of the last big four agents to sign. And, the market was so weird last year with Ohtani and Yamamoto. And here you have this two-time and the reigning Cy Young winner who was just sitting out there kind of rotting away. And along with Jordan Montgomery, who was part of that Boris group. And, Snell signed. I remember I was at Booties and Surprise, and when it came up on the screen, and we were like, all right, now the dominoes, Jordan Montgomery's got to be next.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And they were. But, yeah, it was incredibly late. Snell, like Montgomery, struggled initially when the season started. But then, unlike Montgomery, Snell was fantastic in the second half. So, the Dodgers now, the rich get richer. They found a way to defer some more money. And now maybe the market is set for Corbin Burns. Probably not Nathan Eovaldi. He's not going to get that kind of money. But
Fried.
No, never. No, yeah,
Fried
will
get some big money. Yes, there's Jeff Kavanaugh of our Cowboy Show wishing all of you a happy Thanksgiving. And we appreciate them, and we appreciate you. We appreciate the prophet over there who, once again, is enjoying some Thanksgiving food that's leftover. You know how leftovers are. They're fantastic leftovers from yesterday. We appreciate BC being in the chat already. Not surprisingly, BC had about 10
for DC.
Posts already because he is giddy that the rich are getting richer with regard to the Los Angeles Dodgers signing Blake Snell. So there's deferred money.
Right.
Well, which is amazing that the Dodgers have talked another guy who could get anything he wanted into deferred money. So we say it's 5 years, $37 million, and that is it. But as far as the salary cap goes, they say the current time value of it is $160 to $165. So essentially, Jeff, what will count against the cap is more like $32 or $33 million. That's a $5 million difference. That's significant.
It sure is. And the Dodgers, like we were talking about earlier, John, and good for them, but they found a loophole in the system. Now, they will still almost certainly exceed the luxury tax threshold with all the big contracts they have on their roster, but they're in a unique position with their TV deal, which pays them more than $300 million a year, and is going to for the next 14 years. They're just in a position that other teams aren't in. The playing field is not balanced. It's not an equal playing field, and it's never gonna be. But at this point, the Pirates can't pull off a deal like this.
No,
these small market teams are unable to do it. Teams that are in TV uncertainty, like the Rangers, probably aren't able to do it. So it basically, I think this will be addressed in the next CBA. I can't imagine that every owner is happy with this. But I would think that the Players Association is thrilled with it.
Of course,
so, but there's a little loophole. And why haven't other teams taken advantage of it? The Rangers did a little bit last year with David Robertson. He deferred some of his money, but if you're not deferring money at this point, you're falling behind. It seems like.
Well, as a team, you are, and look, all of the financial analysts will tell you that's not a good idea, right? You want your money. You don't want them to keep your money. You want to, and we'll do better with it than whatever. I've always thought it was brilliant because we've seen way too many athletes. Now, certainly not that many in the 100 million era, but we've seen way too many athletes who, lost all their money for various reasons, typically bad investments, typically bad advice from some of these people in their inner circle. And unfortunately, they wind up, basically broke at the end of a long contract and at the end of making millions of dollars. So the reality is, I think it's great for these guys to have deferred money. I think it's wise. Not that under any circumstances, Blake Snell is going to go broke after a $185 million contract.
I mean, if he does, so
we got problems.
Yeah,
Houston, we got a problem.
Got major problems.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
But it's you do hear about guys. ESPN had that show, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
When they talked about the guys who lost all their money, like Sean Salisbury, and Kurt Schilling also had that bad investment in some kind of company that left him with significant losses. But yeah, I think that Scott Boras clients get set up with financial advising and all of that stuff. But the deferred money though, it's like Bobby Bonilla, still on July 1st, the Mets are paying him $1 million every year.
It's amazing.
And it's still going on. And, how would you like to be him on July 1st?
Right.
Yeah.
As most everybody in the chat and anybody who's listening or viewing knows, it's hard to find $1 million a year jobs out there.
It is.
Yeah.
Those
those don't grow on trees.
Ours is close, John.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're close, but yeah, but it doesn't all come on July 1st,
No,
so
maybe July 1st of 2050.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the time. Yeah. It's about the time. So, it's very interesting. You mentioned it. It's a $334 million contract that the Dodgers have, and unlike how Bally was able to, figure out some ways, there were some loopholes for them to get out of the contract they had with the Rangers. Mind you, they were supposed to pay the Rangers $110 million through the 2031 season. Right now, the Dodgers have a deal with Time Warner, and it is lock solid. The Time Warner people can't get out of it, and it's $334 million a year until 2034. Or 2038, I think is what the skipper told us. 14 more years.
Yeah.
2038, they're getting that $334 million. So, man, that is a huge, and that's even more than the Yankees get from Yes, which is the number one TV market in the country. But the Dodgers were able to work this deal in part because Time Warner was they were basically, in a battle with, at the time, Fox Sports West. They were trying to get the deal too. So Time Warner went crazy, outbid him, gave him, basically a no trade clause and a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, that's great work by the Dodgers. And of course, LA's the second largest market.
It's not much
the country. But there is competition, I guess, a little bit down south there with Anaheim, territory and everything. I don't know how it's split up, but. It's just they're just set up to do this every year.
Yeah, and you mentioned it briefly. So when the dominoes fall, eventually those dominoes get to a Nathan Eovaldi, right? Like, again, the next goal for all these teams that are looking right now, so many they want a lefty stud. So it affects Max Fried. It affects Garrett Crochet, or potentially
trade-wise,
who would be a trade with the Chicago White Sox. There are dominoes that fall that way. But then, does the money increase slightly for a Nathan Eovaldi as other teams like, dang, we missed out on all those guys. We got to get somebody.
Sure, and maybe he does. Maybe guys in his situation do wait a little while longer and have patience and wait for the supply to shrink and the demand to go up. I think the Kikuchi deal with Anaheim 3 and 63 is probably affects things a lot more with Eovaldi and whoever else is out there in that same group. Maybe Jack Flaherty. I just think that I think the Rangers 3 and 63. The Rangers should absolutely do that. That. If Eovaldi wants that,
$21 million, yes,
yeah, I mean,
21 a year.
I mean, if you can bump him to 23, even 25. I don't know about 25, maybe 25. Yeah, but anyway, I think that's kind of. I think yesterday's deal was a bigger
effect
deal.
Yeah,
for
but I'll tell you what, former Ranger free agent, this lefty thing may have an effect on is Andrew Heaney. right?
Sure,
As
sure.
a lefty who's out there, it's like all these teams are looking for lefties. Okay, here's one. It may take his value up.
Yeah, and he's coming off a year in which he was very durable.
Yeah.
The win-loss record doesn't tell the story on how well he pitched. His ERA got blown up there on his last start at Anaheim where he gave up a bunch of runs. But this guy's in a good situation.
Yeah,
because he's
no doubt.
He's probably a little younger or the same age as Snell. Now, obviously, he doesn't have 2 Cy Youngs and overpowering wipe out stuff. But nevertheless, like you said, as these lefty starters come off the board, he's going to start looking a lot more rosy for teams that think they have to have a lefty.
Yep, no doubt about it. So, like we say, these are all dominoes falling, and we're certainly going to keep you posted on how it might affect the Rangers and how it might affect your favorite team as we continue throughout this offseason. Thanks for joining the DLLS Rangers podcast. Be sure to like us, subscribe to us, and upgrade your subscription. Become a diehard today.
We all silly like the mayor.